All right, so now that I've got that joint with a limit on it, let's see if we can make the IK work for us. So I'm going to go up under skeleton, say create IK, and the software is going to ask me, if I look down here, it's going to give me a little message that's going to say, um, click on the starting joint, and now click on the end joint. And it gave me an IK handle. I'm going to undo that for a second and just double check something, okay? So I'm going to say skeleton, create IK handle, and I want to make sure that I have it set to rotate plane solver. That should be the default. Okay, so now I have it, and it says left mouse to pick start joint for the handle. It's way down at the bottom. If I touch it, it goes away, but when I'm down here, see it says left mouse LMB to pick start joint for the handle. So I click that, and then I click the end. Okay, and now if I put the W key, I can move this thing called an IK handle. And because I put the limit on that joint, it's going to restrict that movement. Now if I get too close, see what's going to happen is I start twisting a little bit, but at least that limit keeps the hand from moving, keeps the elbow, keeps the ulna and radius more specifically from flipping around. Okay, I'm going to do that, so make sure I'm back at the beginning. Now the software wants, and what animators want, is something to control that IK handle. And let's give it a name. Double click and call it arm. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a constraint. So I'm going to say nerves primitive circle, and I'm going to rotate that circle so it's facing me in the front axis, and I'm just going to make sure my rotation. Okay, I'm going to scale it a little bigger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it holding down the V key, middle mouse drag it to get it close to that IK I made. I'm not 100% sure it's there, so I'm going to hide in the show option here. I'm going to take off the polygon and zoom in. See, and I'm really not where I think I am. I want to be right there, so I'm going to again hold down the V key, and this time I'm going to middle mouse drag. Notice it snapped it now right into the center of the joint, which is exactly where the center of the IK is as well. Okay, so now I have it positioned that way. What I'm going to do is just to make my life easier and animator's life easier, I'm going to actually now take the arrow only in the x-axis and move it out here. Hold down the D key and the V key, and again middle mouse, and it snaps it right back to there. So now the axis, the pivot point, is right back where it was. Even though the sphere's out here, the circle's out here, its pivot point is right on top of the IK, right on top of the joint. So whatever I do when I select the circle out here away from my model, it's still going to affect the IK right there. So I'm going to give this a name so I know what it is. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of its history, and I'm going to freeze its transformations. Okay, it's selected. This is going to be my constraint, and I want it selected first. Always select the constraint first. Now I'm going to select my IK. Okay, and then I'm going to go under constraint and say point constraint. Now I'm going to use this option here, maintain offset, say add. So now when I have this and I select the circle and then I hit W, notice it's still keeping the circle at the same position relative to that. Now when I do this, notice what happens. All of a sudden now I'm getting some garbage. Now my elbow is starting to move out of position a little bit. The IK, the inverse kinetics, with the constraint, it's moving a little bit. Okay, so we're going to work on fixing that in the next tape.